So Chris, thanks for coming in today. Nice to meet you finally. I saw that you were on my schedule for a few weeks, and I'm finally glad to be able to sit down with you.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm a little anxious, a little nervous about this process, but I've heard a lot about you, and one of my friends used to see you and had nothing but good things to say. So I'm anxious. I'm excited, but a little overwhelmed and nervous.
Well, that could be understandable. Have you done therapy or anything like counseling before? Or is this a brand new kind of experience?
I have, but I don't want to say forced. I just got out of rehab. And so in that treatment center, we had therapeutic sessions, individual and group therapy. But,
okay.
But that's my only exposure. The only time I've done therapy one-on-one was in my last treatment center.
Okay. So what would you say is something you're the most nervous or anxious about just being here?
Honestly, if it's gonna work or not, like if it's gonna help or not. I've never met you, and so there's a little bit of uncomfortability and anxiousness about making sure that I put into therapy what because my therapist always you get out what you put in, so I want to make sure that I put into this whole process as much as I can, and honestly just hoping that I can help get something or get some tools or something to help with my anxiety as I kind of move forward with starting this new life, this new sober life again. So those are, I guess, some of my major concerns.
Okay. Well, I want to make this a comfortable environment for you. I want this to hopefully be a positive experience.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you are here because you want to succeed. You say that you're not sure if this is going to be beneficial or not, but you're here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you made the appointment. You showed up.
Yeah.
You're here you said you're wanting to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you have the right mindset that this can work, that we can work together to help you with what Chris needs.
Yeah.
I guess I'll tell you a little bit about how I like to run my therapy sessions.
Okay.
Today we'll probably meet for about 20 to 30 minutes. But next sessions will probably be about 45 to 50 minutes. It's just kind of an introductory, kind of just to assess where we're at and see where we can go from here. I like to maintain just a really casual environment. I'm not very uptight or very strict. This is your opportunity, your time, and your space to share what you need to or want to share.
Okay.
What you do or what you say in this room is confidential. It stays between you and me. It's not going to be shared on social media or told to spouse, Reddit, I don't know. But it's confidential between us. However, there are a couple caveats to that confidentiality, a couple exceptions that I'm required by law to break confidentiality for.
Okay.
And those are if you're having thoughts of suicide or intentions of suicide or homicide of hurting another person specifically.
Okay.
Or if you have desire or history, or not history, excuse me, have had abuse or hurt a vulnerable population, such as children, adolescents, or the elderly, or anyone that's disabled. And by law, I'm required to report those incidences. However, if that does arise, I'd like to do that with you, reporting. We'd make that call together. I like to have a lot of transparency in my sessions.
Okay.
And I just want you to be able to be aware of what's going on, what's being said. And it's not to be able to punish you or harm you. It's just for your best interest. I want to make sure you're safe and then those around you are safe.
Okay.
It's because ultimately I care. If I didn't, I would just be like,
Yeah.
You're on your own.
True.
But it's
True.
because I care and also by law have to report it. But do you have any questions about confidentiality or my things I have to report?
No.
Okay.
No, you nailed it.
And I just still want this to be an open environment for you to share. So, I mean, if those things come up, we'll talk about it and address it then. But
Okay.
I just still want this, nothing is off the table. I still want you to be able to feel free to share.
Okay. Cool.
So, I guess you mentioned a little bit a few minutes ago, just you got out of rehab or recently?
Yeah, I got out about it's been about 3 weeks now.
Okay.
It's been about 3 weeks now. I spent so a little bit of background and why I'm here, with the anxiety thing is I've about 5 years ago I was diagnosed with anxiety, and they sent me to a psych, and the psychiatrist put me on Xanax, and I ended up abusing that Xanax, and got to the point where I'd go through 5-7 pills a day. I'd run out of my script, so I started pawning stuff, and it just turned into this huge ordeal and created a lot of wreckage along the way of my usage. And finally my parents had enough, and so I went up to a detox facility, because I guess what they were saying is with anxiety and I believe alcohol are two of the more serious detox that someone can go through, as far as it's medically you could possibly die withdrawing from benzodiazepines and alcohol. So I ended up doing 7 days in a detox facility and left that and did 30 days in a treatment center, and got out of that treatment center, like I said, about two and a half weeks ago, and now I am back home living with my parents, but they've created some boundaries. Now that I'm living at home, I have to get a job, I have to pay rent. They want me to drug test once a week, which I'll do. They have it set up with a facility and done through outpatient through the treatment center I went through, and so I've been lately, since I've been out, I've been experiencing a lot of anxiety about, am I going to stay sober? Am I capable of doing this? Because all the times, this is like about my third time trying to get sober, and every time I've only lasted, I think the longest is probably 2 months, and I relapse and was right back into my old behaviors. And I don't know, just there's something about this time where I feel it feels different. Like I actually want it. It was before, it was like for someone else, for my parents or for my job or whatever. But it's like this time, like I really want it, and it's almost feels like a catch-22, where because I want it so bad, there's almost more anxiety about it. Like, because I don't want to. My pattern has been, I've been screwing up, I've been relapsing. And my parents are like, this is like my last chance. If I screw up, I'm on my own. I'm kicked out. I have nowhere to go. So I'm struggling with the fear of screwing it up again. So I've been going through really a lot of anxiety. And before, I used to get, I don't know if you're familiar with Xanax, even Librium. I used to be prescribed that, but I can't take that anymore to deal with my anxiety. So, which even adds to my anxiety. So it's just like this snowball effect almost. But I want it so bad that, like you said, that's why I'm here. I want to be able to use those tools and learn new tools to be able to apply that to my life, where I can cope with this anxiety without having to take medication, or at least benzodiazepines, stuff like Xanax and stuff like that. So yeah, I just have a lot of anxiety if I'm going to screw it up or not.
Well, it sounds like you've been through a lot of like life-changing events in the last 5 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with this crippling anxiety that you mentioned, and then what stemmed kind of from that with the Xanax and the Librium, and with stints in rehab, and it sounds like you've been through a lot. But the fact is that you're here. I mean, even just hearing you say, like you said, I believe it was you were sober for like 2 months.
Yeah, I think that's the longest I've been sober, like 2 months.
That's still 2 months longer than you had before.
True. Yeah.
I mean, it's setting like smaller goals to reach a bigger goal. Like, it's hard to say all or nothing. Crap, man. I didn't do it. I messed up once, so everything's gone to hell. But it sounds like you've already had some success. Did you have, I guess, anxiety before the 5 years ago when you started taking Xanax?
I feel I have. I was never really diagnosed with it. I just, how I coped with it before I was diagnosed, before I got prescribed meds, is what they called in rehab, like, self-medicated. I drank a lot, and I got a little bit into pain pills to kind of numb out those feelings. But yeah, it was, I feel like I've had it almost my whole life, but I never got diagnosed or treated with it until about 5 years ago.
But it's something that you felt like you've had regardless of a diagnosis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you could be a prime candidate for something called cognitive behavioral therapy. Have you heard of cognitive behavioral therapy, or often it's called CBT?
I have a little bit, and my old therapist back in rehab talked about it, had mentioned it, but for whatever reason, we never got into it as far as my situation. So I've heard of it, but I don't really know too much about it. I mean, I've heard good things about it, but as far as what it entails, I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit about it, and let's see how it resonates with you, see if it feels right.
Okay.
So the premise of cognitive behavioral therapy is that we have activities or events that occur in our lives, and that these lead to having us have thoughts or beliefs, which then lead to having feelings and behaviors. So basically, our behaviors are impacted by our thoughts and feelings, which are led up to by an event. And so the premise of cognitive behavioral therapy is that we can address those thoughts and beliefs and feelings, and that we can change that to impact our behavior.
Okay.
That we could change our behavior.
Okay.
And that's part of CBT, is to analyze that, to try to break up that cycle, and to be able to set goals and to have progress. Okay. And so I feel like just listening to a little bit about your story and why you're here, I feel like that could be something that could be really beneficial, some tools, like you were mentioning, that you're looking for. To be able to help you with that anxiety and this whole new, I guess a new look on life after 3 weeks after getting out of the treatment facility.
Okay.
This is kind of a new Chris.
Yes, I like that idea.
So how does that sound to you about trying CBT?
Good. I'm all for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Me too.
all for it. Sounds like a great idea, and it's obviously, I haven't done it before, and nothing else has worked, so might as well try something new. They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So I think doing CBT as something new is a great start.
Definitely.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so too. So with CBT, there's a few models that are used. Got a hole in my shirt. That kind of explain the cognitive or the thought process. And so, just thinking about what you were saying with wanting to set goals or have tools. So I kind of already described the first part of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is called the ABCs of CBT. I feel like I'm singing like a Jackson 5 song, the ABC. Yeah, exactly.
RESPECT, find out what. Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, like all those good songs back in the day. So I'll give you a copy of this when we're done with the session for the day.
Cool.
So you can take it home, so you can have some tools.
Okay.
But I'm just writing out that little model for the ABCs. And so, like I said, the A's represents an activating event. And so, say something. What's something that you'd say that has been kind of sparks some anxiety for you?
Finding a job.
A job.
Yeah.
That's, I think, gives everyone anxiety.
Yeah.
Gives me anxiety too. I mean, I'm still a new therapist, and I'm afraid I'm gonna have to get a new job if I don't do good. If I don't fix you, I'm gonna have to get a new job. So.
Okay.
If you can give me a good referral. No, I'm kidding. But
that's how I found you. It was a good referral, so.
Well, that's how we work, right? And so we have our event. So looking for a new job.
Okay.
So what kind of beliefs or thoughts have you recognized that leads to?
That I'm not going to find a new job. I'm not capable of working. I'm really scared about the idea of, it was talked about in my treatment center of disclosure of like, hey, I have struggled with substance use, so there's that fear of I'm not going to get hired because of the stigma behind substance use disorders. So, I'm not worth it. Not capable of holding a job or getting a job.
So with those thoughts, like I'm not going to be good enough to get a job, or the stigma, what has that ultimately led to? Like for your behaviors or actions?
It's led to ultimately like being lazy. I don't even put forth the effort, which then feeds into the idea of, well, I'm not going to get a job, so why even try? And I'm miserable, so if I'm miserable, I might as well get high, so at least I won't be miserable, So it's just it kind of like a relapse cycle of mine. So it allows some of the consequences is using, and it allows me to use.
Okay.
Justifies myself into using.
So what is it that Chris really wants, though? Are you really wanting to use and allow yourself?
No. No, I don't want to use it.
Well, what do you want? What does Chris really want?
I want to be happy, be content with my life, and be a productive member of society, that can live. I want to live life on life's terms. Is what I would like to do, and not have to constantly worry or deal about my anxiety.
I think that's a really worthwhile goal. I want the same thing for myself, but especially I want that for you, Chris.
Thank you.
And so the goal is, those last things were the consequences that we talked about in that ABC model. So we want to change those consequences. We want to change, like you said, you don't want to use. You want to be able to live life on life's terms. And so we need to start going back to those beliefs about that stigma, about not being able to get a job. So that's what we can change. So we're still using that same event of looking for a job, but we need to change those thoughts and beliefs.
Okay.
So what if you changed from, let's say, that stigma or not being able to get a job? What's a different thought or belief that could be inserted there?
Well, one thing I've been trying to kind of that popped into my mind when as you were talking was like, man, I've sobered up. Like, I've gone through treatment. Wasn't easy. Treatment's really hard, and so if I can do that, if I can get sober, if I can 2-3 months sober, if I can complete treatment, I feel that I could do anything. Those are some different beliefs I have that, I've overcome that. I can overcome getting a job. I can get through this. That just kind of popped up as you were talking.
Well, I mean, because that's true. I mean, you've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen that success. You've done a lot of hard things in your life. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's probably things I couldn't even do, but you've done it.
It's hard. Thank you.
And so, with that belief, changing that to I've done hard things before, what do you think would be the behaviors? What would that lead to you doing?
I think I would be more motivated to get a job, to continue looking, to really put myself out there, and just continue moving forward in that, living that life of sobriety, which includes getting a job. And I wouldn't let little setbacks snowball into this relapse cycle. I would keep moving forward and keep trudging this road. So I think that's one consequence, positive coming out. I wouldn't be as lazy, and I would be more motivated.
So you said a word that was kind of interesting. You said that you were trudging this road. Mm-hmm. Why would you pick that word?
Because that's what it feels like sometimes. It's just trudging this road. I mean, I know it's the road to take. It just feels like it's almost like muddy, and it's each step is just like, it's not like just I'm on, those moving walkways in the airport. It's not like I'm trudging that, where it's like I'm moving twice as fast. It's like I'm moving twice as slow. So it just feels, just trudging along, and also it talks about it in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, trudging the road, trudging this happy road to destiny or something like that. I don't know, I can't remember. I'm not too into AA, but they made us go to meetings.
Gotcha. So, it just seems, because trudging, at least to me, just seems like something I wouldn't even want to do. Like, it just sounds hard. Mm-hmm. It's like walking in deep mud. Yeah. But, I mean, you're on this road that you want to better yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's one way that you could possibly reframe that idea of trudging into something that's more positive, or what's more enticing that you want to do?
I don't know, it may sound weird, but like tackling me feels like powerful, empowering, like I'm tackling this journey, I'm tackling life, I'm tackling this next phase of my life. So to me, I think maybe tackling.
So how does that just feel when you say that?
It feels empowering. Like I felt it right away. Like it feels like instead of like life's right here and I'm right here trudging, it's like life is right here and I'm right here and I'm just like boom, boom, like a lineman, Bobby Boucher, So it feels empowering. It feels positive.
Because you are strong, you are positive. And so that just kind of leads me, as we're about to wrap up, I want you to have, like you said at the beginning of the session, you want tools. Mm-hmm. And so this is a tool that I want to give you for this upcoming week. And so we talked about the events, those beliefs and thoughts, and then the actions. Mm-hmm. So this upcoming week, let's say even with regards to looking for a job, like we just talked about, when you have these thoughts that come into your mind, I want you to look at them to be able to see, what are my beliefs and thoughts that lead to these actions? Okay. Is it leading me to be trudging? Okay. Or am I leading me to be tackling life problems? Okay. And so you look at them and then you reappraise them and see, is this, which road is it taking me down?
Yeah.
Am I in the mud or am I Bobby Boucher?
Yeah. Are my actions leading to tackling or are my actions leading to trudging?
Exactly.
Okay.
And so this week, I want you to be able to help with your anxiety.
Okay.
To look at these, to do what we call a thought log, with CBT, but just writing down even like, okay, what was the event? What were these beliefs and thoughts? And then what were the behaviors or my actions?
Okay.
And then looking at exceptions and looking how to reframe that to make it empowering, Chris, and not stuck in the mud.
Okay.
Because you aren't stuck in the mud, Chris. You're in the right place.
Okay.
You're doing good things.
Thank you.
You have the right motives and you want to make the best out of your life. I can already tell that from our short time today.
Perfect.
So I know you can do these things. And so next week, I'll make a copy of this and give it to you as we walk out.
Okay.
But we're going to review that thought log and to see where you've had some struggles, where you had successes, and where we could build on that from there to be able to help you with your anxiety in this new life. So how does that sound to you?
It sounds wonderful. I think it's a great start.
Do you feel like it's something that can help you, that you want to do?
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
Most definitely.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in, Chris, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Awesome. Me too. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.